So you are going to probably see, especially probably this weekend, probably for the next couple of days even, the Brexiteers celebrate saying, oh my God, we, pardon me, we got a trade deal with America. Take that, Remainers, you Ramonas. You doubted the brilliance of our excellent trade negotiator Trevelyan. How fool on you for doubting her and her amazing negotiating skills. To that I say, no, we do not. We do not at all have a trade deal with America at all. What we have is a state level one with Indiana, one that it is hoping at least 8 other states will sign up to. And this isn't a trade deal. It is what is called a Memorandum of Understanding. They do not lower trade barriers. They do provide at least recognition of qualifications, but they do not mean that you can just go and alter regulations or start importing, more stuff from Indiana. That's not how it works. And you're going to be seeing probably for the next couple of days how apparently Trevelyan got one over on Pelosi. No, guys, a memorandum of understanding is not a trade deal, and any federal deal, be it either one to actually do a trade deal, or if the federal state, or federal, shall we say, the federal function goes, no trade for you, UK, and starts putting tariffs or targeting stuff, then these states will happily join in, because in that case, the federal level trumps the state level on these things. So let's get more into this and just what exactly the Brexiteers are really actually celebrating. It's like, shall we say, celebrating that you've just taken a breath of fresh air in many of these ways. But before we go diving into this, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me a Coffee, where you can, buy me a coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do help and support the channel that way. So, on with this. This comes from City AM with the title of UK signs first US state-level trade deal with Indiana. And again, it is not a trade deal, it's a memorandum of understanding. The idea that this is a trade deal is a bit misleading, to say the least. The UK will today sign its first US state-level trade deal, with an agreement to be linked with Indiana. The, quote, Trade and Economic Development Memorandum of Understanding with Indiana aims to, quote, cut red tape for British firms wanting to trade or operate within the Midwest state. So by doing what? Because to get to Indiana, you first have to pass through the borders of the United States. Those will still apply, So it's not so much cutting red tape, as they like to say. It's what do you mean and what exactly regulations? We don't actually know yet what's in this deal, this memorandum of understanding. Expect us to probably go deeper into this probably later in the week, when we at least get more understanding what is actually in here. Not only that, this idea that you have signed all these memorandum of understandings with all these very different patchwork regulations is incredibly worrying if we do sign a larger US trade deal, because that just does not work when you've got all these different rules, when you've signed another trade deal and these aren't compatible with the one. You need a US-wide one, not done on an individual state level. It is just a complete foolishness to do this. This is being done so that, again, Trevelyan and particularly Penny Mordaunt can go out and say, oh, look, we fulfilled a Conservative manifesto promise because we promised by the end of this year that we would get a US trade deal. Remember, the US trade deal was the much vaunted prize of Brexit. People like Daniel Hannan, aka the brain of Brexit, were going out and saying, we'll get such a good trade deal with the US, it'll make staying in the single market completely pathetic. But that hasn't happened. And again, repeat the words of Nancy Pelosi, who basically said, if you even damage the Good Friday Agreement, you can kiss goodbye to any US trade deal. And that is ultimately what they really want, not these very, very pathetic attempts at trying to portray them as trade deals when they're really not. The memorandums of understanding, they do not go as deep and as, or even cut any tariffs on goods like a trade deal would. So anyway, we'll continue. The deal will not lower tariffs or quotas on goods going in either direction, as this can only be done through a trade deal with the US federal government. So, as you can see, the big things, tariffs and quotas, aren't even going to be touched. And that's really what you often talk about at a trade level. The Department of International Trade on the statement said the agreement would make it easier for UK professionals to work in Indiana and vice versa through the mutual recognition of qualifications. So I suppose that's good, but that would be something that we could also do at a bigger level, at a US federal government level, getting that trade deal. You know, why settle for Indiana where you could work in maybe sort of on the coast, maybe in New York, or, you know, in California, or, you know, one of these other big urban areas where there are, again, a lot more service areas. And again, I repeat time and time again, we are a service-based economy. As someone put it, I think on the Good Morning Walk, the population of Indiana not only is smaller than London, there are more cows, I think, living in Indiana than the actual population of Indiana. So, yeah. Where are we? Yes, here we are. International Trade Secretary Anne-Marie Trevelyan pivoted to try and sign trade partnerships with individual US states after negotiations for a trade deal with the White House stalled last year. The Labour Shadow International Trade Secretary Nick Thomas Simons pointed out that the 2019 Conservative Election Manifesto promised to have a post-Brexit US trade deal signed by 2022, saying, reducing barriers to trade with individual states is important, but the government must set out a formal process for a proper for the proper security of this memorandum of understanding in Parliament and ensure that exporters here in the UK are given the support they need to actually take advantage of new opportunities, he said. And as we've said before, they are not. They really don't care about exporters. They really do not care. You've seen the hotline that barely anyone uses. The fact that exporters, if you have a problem, you are still waiting days to get a response to basic questions from, customs officials in this scenario. We are still trying to deal with the nightmare of the whole new rules and regulations around this. Companies are still dealing with the mounds and mounds of red tape that they have to now deal with. Rather than take away red tape, every deal the government seems to sign seems to add more tape to this pile. Fancy that. So, as always, Thank you very much for watching, and please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.